Oh my god, it's been so long, but oh, I'm kicking the camera, let's get comfortable. Hi everyone, my name is Jonathan and I am a knitter in London, and this is Jonathan's Days Knitting podcast, where I talk about all the things I've been getting up to in my knitting world. And this is the travel edition because I've been going around the world a little bit, not too far, in the last few weeks. So I'm here to share what I've been knitting on and what I've collected along my short travels. And it is a lot, so make sure you're comfortable and settled. And one thing I wanted to mention at the beginning is that the reason that my website is jonathandays.com is because my name is Jonathan Day. So it's Jonathan's Days. These are my days where most of the time I'm knitting. I'm not going to do the standard finished objects, works in progress, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to jump around a lot because there's things kind of segue into each other, so it's probably best if I just like jump around and do it really naturally. First off, let me start with a finished object, which if you have been following me for a little while, or at least seen the last episode, you know it is the Beauceron, which I'm currently wearing. Hello, 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 it's me, it's done, it's finished, it is not blocked. So it is, I've worn it a few times, which I'll talk about a little bit more later when I get to my travel section, and it is wonderful. It feels great, but it is like a smidge tight, so I think that me blocking it will just let it like relax that, you know, tiny bit that I need to make it feel a bit better. It's knit in Garthenor Beacons yarn, which is a DK weight yarn. I've knit the size 3, and I used 9 skeins of the Beacons. So I used 3 of the lighter color, which is marble, and then 6 of the darker color, which is holly. And I'm not sure if it will. You can see. Yeah, there you go. It's a dark green. It does show green in like natural light. In the evenings it does kind of skew quite black, but my experience with Garthenor yarns, with my other jumper that I made, which was the So Basic sweater, which was in the fingering weight, which was Priscelli, it did like have that nice relaxation once it was blocked. So I'm looking forward to having that with this. It's not like, I don't feel super restricted. There's just kind of like, because this is mosaic knitting, there's like all floats that go along, and I think just having them relax a little bit, because you probably won't be able to tell, but it kind of bunches up a bit. Yeah, kind of like that. That's an over dramatization, but it bunches up a little bit, but I think once it blocks, it will just kind of relax that down. And I can do a close-up so you can see the yoke. It's all like slip stitches, and then it's just straight stockinette on the bottom. And yeah, I'm absolutely in love with it. I couldn't have been happier with it. Yeah, it was a joy to knit. I talked about it quite a bit in the previous episode, so I won't go into too much detail. What I will say is that you do need to count a lot for the yoke, so it's not kind of place markers and then you just knit to the marker. You do have to count, so using markers to count was something that I found quite useful. I made no really adjustments or anything like that. It was only kind of in length, which is kind of standard for me now because this is knit top down. So for me, it's just it's kind of what I do now with top down is I kind of take the pattern or the sizing in the pattern as a kind of a suggestion, and then just keep trying on. It's a bit of a pain to kind of put your stitches onto another longer cable to try on, but it's super useful. So if you go over to my Ravelry, I have lots of pictures to kind of show the progress of it. So the other thing that I did do actually, which is something that I think I mentioned in the last episode, I kind of did the sleeves first and then finished with the body. So I did a little bit of the body and then decided to jump over to sleeves. So I did both the sleeves and then I did the body, which was quite nice actually. yeah, I think it was, I like doing it that way, so I did enjoy that. Bind off wise, I always get it mixed up. Judy or Jenny, it's the surprisingly stretchy bind off on, no, I did sewn. I think I did sewn bind off on the cuffs and then surprisingly stretchy on the waist, I believe. I didn't do sewn on the waist. I did surprisingly stretchy. So yeah, it's wonderful. I love it. It's kind of flirting with autumn right now in the UK. It's not quite like, on Monday this week it was like epic storm rain, and then 2 days ago it was like shorts and t-shirts weather again. So we're not really hitting sweater weather at all. But I'm just kind of dying to wear this kind of more regularly. But I will block it out, and I will be taking like nicer photos and posting them to Instagram when I go somewhere else soon, which I'll talk about later. So that's my first finished object, my Beauceron by, I didn't mention, it's by Vincent from Designs by Delz, and he wrote a great pattern. I love it. It's a wonderful DK weight sweater. I love the contrast. I love the short row shaping and ribbing at the back of the neck. There's lots of like little details, like slip stitch details down the sleeves that are just kind of like make it really, really special. And I know that it's something that I'm going to get compliments on and that people are going to talk about a lot. So I'm super, super happy with it. I'm going to try and leave it on for the remainder of the episode, but it is not super cold right now. So we'll see how I get on. It might be doing a striptease later on. But yeah, so that's my first finished object since the last episode. And it does bring me into my next sweater plan, which I'm going to jump right into my next sweater plan to show you. Look at how packed this Heidenhammer bag is. It's so stuffed. It's crazy. So this is stuffed with my next sweater project. I already have it planned, and amazingly, I already have it swatched. Oh my god. So this is my swatch. Ta-da! It's been washed and everything. And it is knit out of Sandnes Garn, I'm going to say pure Gynt, Peergynt, which is a DK weight as well. So it's going to be another DK weight jumper. And I will hold it up so you can see. There you go. This is it. It's like a mustard, a really nice mustard color, and I've always kind of wanted a nice mustard jumper, so I'm going to make one. It's super squishy. It's 100% wool. Yeah, 100% wool, and the color is 2035, I believe. Yeah, 2035, and this is Norwegian wool. Yeah, I don't speak Norwegian, but I'm pretty sure Norsk ull is Norwegian wool. And so here's my swatch. I've gotten gauge, I'm going to say I'm happy with my gauge. Does that make sense? I'm happy with my gauge, and I didn't do the swatch in the round. I just don't think it's for me, you guys. We discussed it in the last episode, and I don't think I'm going to do swatching in the round. I just don't think I like it. And yeah, I'm not going to do it. Sorry, I'm at least I'm gauging, okay? Let's be happy that I'm gauge swatching at least. So yes, and I haven't even said the sweater I'm going to make. The sweater I'm going to make is the Ankers Sweater by Petite knit, and it is my boyfriend's size, or my boyfriend's fit. So she has, I think, 3 versions of this sweater. She has like the normal one, the kids one, and the boyfriend size one. So I think it's just kind of formatted for a more masculine shape, I guess, broader shoulders, less bust shaping, those kinds of things. I will pop a picture up of the design, and it's kind of like got a ribbed yoke almost. It's super, super interesting, and I think after doing like this, which was like 2 colors, my next whip, which again is more like 2 colors, I wanted kind of like just a single color sweater. I have sweater plans to finish the year. So, you know, this is one of at least 4 plans. So I want to get this one done. I'm hoping to have this one cast on by the next episode and have it done before December, because I have like a birthday sweater that I want to make for myself because my birthday is in December, and I have plans even beyond that, but I'll get to those. But so this is going to be the Ankers Sweater. I've got my gauge swatch, I've got my yarn, I've even got the pattern printed out. I didn't even realize. Oh my god, how cool. I'm surprised by my own organization. So I will have popped up a proper photo, but here's the pattern printed out. So yeah, if I'm too lazy to pop up a photo, you can see. And here's something I've been doing with my patterns recently, is I've been printing them off in A5 and putting them in these little plastic envelopes and using them, sticking them in my project bags as a way to just, you know, keep it clean and organized and keep everything together. So that's been working out pretty good, and I've been enjoying it. And then when I'm done, this is me going on a tangent of organization. When I'm done, I have little A5 ring binders that I put all my patterns in. So that's what's been. I might show them on another episode when I don't have so much to get through. We'll do a little my knitting organization moment. But yeah, so that's the swatch and plans for my next jumper. Now that the Beauceron is done, and once my next big project is finished, I will cast on the Ankers Sweater. So stay tuned for that. I'm super excited about it, and I think it'll be another nice autumn winter sweater that hopefully I'll be able to wear come end of October, November time, if everything goes to plan. So yes, that's the next sweater plan. What's next? Guys, I have so much stuff here on the bed next to me, you will not believe. I mean, you're gonna see about it. So next is next FO. I'm gonna kick off my sandals because I'm wearing them, and these you would have seen in the previous episode. These are my color blocked socks on my feet. I will pull one off. They are blocked because it's easy to block socks, and I did a big wash and block of all my socks because I think I've got about 6 or 7 pairs now. So here they are. They are using up some Quince & Co. Finch wool that's been in my stash or yarn that I wanted to use up. I spoke about it quite a bit in the previous episode. So it's the Shadow Wrap Heel, which is taught by Denise, Earthtone's girl. In her, I think if you want to find it on Ravelry, I think it's under the Socksploration pattern is where you find it, and she's amazing YouTube videos as well. And yeah, so this heel is fantastic. I haven't worn these properly, so I can't like attest to the fit for me personally right now, but the process of knitting it was absolutely fantastic. And my bind off, I did the surprisingly stretchy bind off, which in my next sock whip, I'll show you a different bind off that I did because I'm not too happy with this one. It's a bit, I don't know. I think it might look fine on, but I'm not happy with it. This is a toe-up sock. And speaking of toe-up socks, thank you to Kevin and Ray for shouting me out in not only the last episode, but the previous episode. They shouted me out because of my toe-up socks. So thanks guys for shouting me out. I did feel the love. It's like, it's funny to like be just, you know, watching all the knitting podcasts, knitting away, and then hearing my name out of nowhere. I'm like, oh god, they're talking about me. So thanks guys. That like made my day. And I'm going to keep talking about toe-up socks when I show you my next whip. So these are, Kevin and Ray even spoke about this as well, how I do 2 projects. I do a big one and I do my little sock at work. So this is in another Heidenhammer bag. You guys know I love Heidenhammer, and this is actually the one that my sweater was in was the 03, and this is the 08, which is basically the 03 but in a smaller size. And I've finished 1 sock, and I am about just at the toe, which I love this point. I love this point when you're just at this little little tiny toe. So I'm at this point on the second sock. And last episode we spoke about what to take when you go on trips and holidays, and thank you to everyone who commented. Most people had the same advice, and that's the advice I followed, which was take one big project and one small project. Like one big project that's a little bit more complicated and one small project that's like more straightforward knitting, and that's exactly what I did. And so I brought this sock, which was just another vanilla toe-up sock. I did both this one and the previous FO one on 2.5mm needles, 64 stitches, because at the moment I'm trying to figure out what my sock yarn, 100-gram ball of sock yarn, which in this case is Retrosaria Mondim. So this is this yarn. There we go. I can show you. And this is the color 202, and this is what it looks like in this game. So this one I got in the Wild and Woolly shop in London, and I couldn't resist it because I just thought it looked like so cool, and this is how it has knit up in the sock. This sock isn't blocked yet. So I've been trying to figure out with a 100-gram ball of sock yarn, so like fingering weight 4-ply sock yarn, what my vanilla sock like number of rows and stitches is to get not only a really good fit but also to completely use up the yarn. So I have been I was weighing the skein to figure out when I'd hit kind of the halfway point. So for me, I've done the Turkish Magic cast on for the toe, which is what the boys at Needles at the Ready were speaking about. Andrea Mowry has a video on that as well, but you just can search the Magic cast on and that should come up. So I do that. So it's 64 stitches. I do 32 cast on, and then I increase till I get to the 64 every second row. And then I do 70 rows for the foot, shadow wrap heel, and then I did 70 rows for the leg, and 20 of, in this case, 2x2 ribbing. In the sock I'm wearing now, it's 3x1. So we'll see which one wears better. And then the cast off for this one I did is the Tubular Cast Off, which is a sewn cast off, and you can see it's not blocked, so it is quite funky looking. And the way I did it is I used another Andrea Mowry video, because she has a video about, so this is 2x2 rib, she has a video about rearranging your stitches, the knit 2 purl 2, so that they are knit 1 purl 1, and then you can do the tubular cast off for that. Now the video, so I used Andrea Mowry's video to rearrange my stitches, and then I used Very Pink Knit's video on the tubular cast off, which is a sewn cast off. And right now I don't like how it looks. We'll see what happens with blocking, because I've done 2x2 rib and then rearranged my stitches to 1x1 to do a 1x1 cast off, so no wonder it looks funny. But this is all about just kind of experimenting these vanilla socks. The cast off is only something I care about, and you guys probably care about, but nobody else in the world cares about it. But that's what we care about, so I'm glad I have this avenue for me to kind of moan about cast offs to you guys. But we'll see. Once this sock is off and blocked, it will be very interesting to see how, first of all, this yarn works, because I have another skein of the Mondim yarn. It was so great to work with. I really enjoyed working with the yarn. I did also, if you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen I messed up and for some reason did 50 stitches for my foot and then did the entire heel without realizing I was supposed to do 70 stitches. So I had to rip out the whole heel. And it was also the first time I ever went back in and picked up stitches and then ripped back so that all the stitches just fell onto a cable. Because in this bag, I carry excuse me, I carry my small circumference needles plus a not a cable needle. Oh my god, what do you call these? Circular needle. So I carry both the circular needle and the small circumference version. So because I need the small circumference to do the toe, and the rest I can, well, so then I can do the rest with the small circumference, and I learned that I can do the toe with the small circumference as well. I am able to do it, but I prefer to not do it. So I will leave the first half of the stitches on the small circumference and then use the bigger circumference circular needle to do the toe. Does that make sense? Am I waffling? So I use this guy. These are Addi Turbos, sock rockets, 2.5. So I use these for the toe and the heel, and that's it. I don't need, I need it for the toe. I don't need it for the heel if I was really stuck. So for example, the reason I know I can do it is because I was on the plane knitting the sock when I got to the heel, and so I did the heel. Now, what I didn't know was that I hadn't got to the heel. I had 20 more rounds to go, but still, I managed to do the heel on the plane with the small circumference needle, which was fine. It was just really fiddly, and I've mentioned before the ones I use, my right hand needle tip is longer than the left hand needle tip, and when you start going back and forth, you have to start using the small needle tip as the right hand needle, and it's super fiddly. You know, I've got man hands, so that's that. So yeah, so we'll see how this goes. That was a lot of waffle about a vanilla sock, guys, so I hope that's interesting to you sock knitters. But I have really enjoyed figuring out my numbers when it comes to like just a vanilla sock and how much like I can use up in a sock from a standard ball of yarn, because I was saying I have a lot of sweater plans and jumper plans, even though sweaters and jumpers are the same thing, but I have even more sock plans, which you'll see when I get to all the yarn that is swimming out of frame that you can see. But it's been very good for me to figure that out, so because I don't want to waste, and I like don't, you know, the less scrappy projects I have to to find to use up all fingering weight, the better. So yeah, so that's my vanilla sock journey and figuring all of that out. The next thing is a work in progress, which is right behind me. Let me move all these. So it's been quite a while since I've been here, so I've made well, I hadn't cast it on in the last episode, but I've just shown you the photos. I've got it currently in my, this is a Carhartt like tool bag, and I use it for big projects that live at home. And especially a project like this because it has multiple colors in it, and it's nice to have like a big bag rather than, even though the Heidenhammer bag is great, it's good to be able to kind of like move your skeins around inside it. So this is my Opus Shawl. Finally! Da 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 da! Here it is! Oh my god, it looks so cool on the camera. I forgot how cool this pattern is. And I've just become even more obsessed with my color choice, seeing it here in the camera. My god. So, this is the Opus Shawl. It is it is designed by Max the Knitter, Maxime Cyr, from Les Garçons, and one half of the stars behind the Happy Hour podcast. So, this shawl, let me tell you. So I started it, well, first of all, there was needle drama, guys. I had everything ready and realized I had the wrong size needles. So I had to order the correct needles before my trip to Barcelona, and they weren't arriving directly from Addi where I was getting them. So I had to order them on Amazon, and then the Amazon was delayed, and I was literally like a day before going, oh my God, you guys, I'm not going to be able to take this with me because I have the wrong size needles. But thankfully they did arrive. And I cast on, and I did a little bit before we took off, so I had it like started before we went to Barcelona. I did a fair bit of it. So this is the front with the pattern, and also almost as interesting as the back where the floats are. And the yarn is Walcot yarns in the Opus base, which is why it's called Opus. And the colors I'm using are, okay, so the black is charcoal, the white is splashed white, the pink is Love Potion, and the grey is... That is a fantastic question. There is a grey called grey, but I don't think it's this grey. I'm gonna have all the names up here anyway, so you'll figure it out. Maybe the black is called black and the grey is called charcoal. God, I'm a terrible podcaster. Okay, it'll be on the screen anyway. Editing Jonathan will sort it out. Thank you, Editing Jonathan. But yeah, so I'm obsessed with how this looks. I will say, if you can see, there's a lot of ends. And actually Max and Carmen from A Yarn Story and Walcot Yarns did a live on Instagram where they, before the pattern was released, talking about it and talking about the yarn, and it was a fantastic thing to watch. And I asked the question, hey, can we carry the yarns the whole way up? And then Max said, no, you shouldn't do that, blah, blah, blah. So I haven't done that. I've been doing the weaving Steven technique. And so it's fine. But it's one of those things where, like, you know, again, Andrea Mowry, she says, like, you know, don't snip your ends until you block it, because, you know, it gives, once you've blocked it, it gives the yarn even more of a chance to, like, stick together, so you know that it's more secure. So it's a bit frustrating having to wait until you block it to snip them all off, because I'm just, like, dying to get rid of them, because I hate how they look hanging off. What else can I say about it? So yeah, so it's a mosaic knitting, again, kind of like the yoke of my Beauceron. Have you noticed that I like using the white with the colors? And so let me get right in close so you can see. There you go. Here we go. So it's a slip stitch pattern. And then I'll show you the other side. And here are the floats at the other side, which look almost as good as the front. Which is nice that there's, like, interest when when you wrap it. There's still kind of interest from when you see the behind. And so because it's that kind of slip stitch pattern, it's like double knit fabric. It's like really thick. Like, I can't even describe to you how thick it is. It's like super thick. You can hear it. I can hear it. And the other thing is the Walcot Opus yarn, you guys, is so freaking soft. Like, so it's so soft on the inside, because these are just floats, so it's just the yarn, like, being carried. And, like, if I get really close, you can see, like, the floof and the fuzz. Oh my god, it feels so good. Like, I'm so excited to get it done. Now, the other the thing that I wanted to talk about is that, like, if I'm really honest, I didn't enjoy the beginning of it at all. Like, I guess it wasn't until the 5th or 6th repeat of the pattern that I really kind of have gotten into it, and now I'm, like, super into it. So I don't know how far I am. You know, like, shawls like this that increase and get bigger, you don't really, like, you know, you might have to do 20 repeats, but just because you finish 10 doesn't mean you're halfway through, because it's still getting bigger. So I'm kind of going off the white, which is the main color. So currently I have this much left of the main color, and you're supposed to use 2 skeins of the main color. So I'm not even halfway yet, even though I'm like 2/3 through the pattern repeats I have to do. So who knows? Either way, I'm still really enjoying it. This would probably, like, ooh, it's gonna look so good when it's done. Ugh, I'm so excited. So excited for the Opus Shawl. This is the Opus Shawl. I will have it done for the next episode, and I'm super happy with it. So, as I mentioned with that Opus Shawl, I, like, wasn't super in love with it when I kind of first got into it. So I was knitting on it quite a bit when we were in Barcelona, but when we came back for a few days, I decided to cast something different on. I'd ordered this yarn a little while ago. Well, a while ago since the last episode. So this is it. This is Ito Gima 8.5. So this is a Japanese yarn. It is 100% cotton. And the colors I have are charcoal and steel grey. So charcoal on the top, steel grey on the bottom. And any guesses what I would be using this? I'm only using one colour at a time. So I bought enough for 2 projects. But what I'm making with it, and I've already cast it on, is a French market bag by Petite Knit. And I'm holding the yarn triple. So this cotton is lace weight, I think technically. And I'm holding it triple. So I'm currently holding it triple, being held in this is a Belroy bag. These aren't knitting bags, they're just, they make wallets and phone cases and stuff. And so I use it as a knitting bag. So I'm holding it triple, so you can see the 3 little skeins hidden inside there. And yeah, so I'm making the French market bag by Petite Knit. This is it. So, let's see. This is the bottom. And then I've done maybe 1 repeat of the knotted, like, woven pattern that will make up the sides of the bag. And yeah, it has been a learning process. If you follow me on Instagram, I'm going to say that a lot this episode, you will know that I cast this on using one of my favorite pairs of needles, which are these cool blue double-pointed needles, because in this pattern you start right at the center with very few stitches, and then you increase for the bottom, and then you go up the sides. And first of all, I'm knitting with cotton for the first time, and it's so hard to describe. They're like tiny ribbons, but they're still kind of soft. It's really weird. I don't know how. Let me see if I can get it to focus on. Yeah, so I'm holding it. There's 3 of them, and they're like flat little ribbons. So interesting, and like it's meant to be like a bag, like a market bag. So it's like making a sturdy fabric, which is what it's supposed to do. But when you knit with it, there's little to no give or stretch or bounce or anything like that. So when you start with so few stitches, I had to kind of like use the 4 double pointed needles plus the needle you're working with, and I used to put it flat on my knee and knit the couple of stitches and do the increase, and like I can't even describe how difficult it was to do. Someone on Instagram was like, why didn't you use a crochet cast on? And I was like, I don't know, because I like to follow the pattern exactly the first time around before I like start doing crazy modifications. And so I used my favorite needles, which were the wrong size, so I almost did the entire bottom of the thing before realizing I had the wrong size needles, because it was like coming out really small. I'm like, why is it so small? Because it was the wrong size needles. So I ripped out the entire thing and started again immediately doing that extremely difficult cast on and increase with so few stitches on slightly bigger needles, which has now made what will be a actually useful size bag. So it was one of those things where it's almost like I didn't think about it. I just pulled them out. I ripped and I cast on right away. I just didn't give myself a chance to feel sad about it or to feel angry about it or feel frustrated about it. I just did it, because if I hadn't just cast on again, I wouldn't have gotten back into my groove. So now I have it back. And the one interesting thing I will say about the difficult beginning was that because the cotton has no spring and no bounce, if my needle did fall out, the stitches would just literally like hold and you just slot the needle back in. So don't be intimidated by it, just take it really, really slow. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's completely different. Like this knotted patterning uses yarn overs, which is something that I'm like haven't done a ton of in my knitting experience. So I'm really, really enjoying it. And I've also bought, apologies for the crinkling, some straps. So these are from Merchant & Mills. some leather straps to put on the bag. Sorry about the crinkling. To put on the bag at the end, and I've also got some black straps when I make it with the charcoal color, with this color. I've got black straps to make it again. You do, in the pattern, you do line it, like you get fabric, like some cotton or linen, whatever, and you line it, but I do not have a sewing machine. I've never sewn in my life. I don't really have any intention of learning to sew currently, so I'm just going to omit that. I have loads of I'm a big pouch guy. I have loads of pouches and things like that that I can use to kind of keep everything organized. And yeah, you started with double points, but now I'm on the sides. I've switched to circular, which will make things a lot more secure and easy to do. And yeah, so that's my French market bag by Petite Knit. So not only do I have a Petite Knit pattern on the needles, I have another one planned with the jumper I was talking about earlier. So yeah, really, really enjoying that. It's something different, like something completely different. So when I'm kind of, the Opus is going really well, I'm really enjoying it now. But at that time, when I kind of needed something like completely different, there couldn't have been something more different than a cotton market bag, than the soft, squishy Opus shawl. So yeah, it was good to kind of switch to something completely different. And what is next? There's still a lot to go. So, French market bag, done. Okay, so let's get on a jet plane and start traveling around the world. So, as I mentioned in the last episode, I was going to Barcelona, and so I visited 2 yarn shops when I was in Barcelona. And thank you for everyone who commented and gave suggestions about places to go. I took them all on board. I was even going around the shop with screenshots of people's comments being like, do you have this yarn? So, well, I was getting my boyfriend to do it because he speaks Spanish. And so I went to 2 yarn shops. The first yarn shop I went to in Barcelona is called Miss Kit's. And it was fantastic because it was a lot of yarn shops, and this is not a criticism at all, are like Aladdin's caves, it's full of yarn and there's yarn everywhere, and you're like, oh my god, exploration, and I really think of Tribe Yarns, if you go to that shop, it's so cool, it's so full of stuff, and there's a spiral staircase, and you climb and you explore and you play with color, and it's amazing. Miss Kit's was the opposite of that, because it was super big and bright and white, and it's a really long shop with hooks with hanging yarn, and then there was a mezzanine floor where you could sit and knit, and then there was a teaching area with a big table that you could sit and knit. So it was it was still really abundant and colorful and amazing like that, but it was so kind of big and airy compared to knitting shops that I've been to before. It was very different. And I really enjoyed it. It would have been one of those places that I would have loved to have sat down and knit for a while, but in the UK things are more or less fully open now at the moment, and Barcelona is further behind than that, so it was wearing a mask all the time, and I didn't want to be can I sit down for a while, So it was nice to go there, have a look around. And this is kind of the same for all my travels, and I'd say most people will probably be similar to me in that I was asking and looking for something that I could only get in that yarn shop. There's no point in traveling across the world and getting something that you can get in your yarn store down the road. In my opinion, I want to get something special that when I make something, it'll remind me of that trip. So when I went to Miss Kit's, I was looking at Spanish yarns, and they came from the suggestions in the comment. I can't think of what they were, but we did ask, and they had 1 or 2 skeins of one of the brands, and the colors didn't really speak to me. And then the other one was I think it was bulky or chunky weight. And again, I've no kind of plans to make anything out of bulky or chunky weight. So I didn't end up getting anything at Miss Kit's, and that's not a criticism of miss Kits at all. They have like an amazing selection, but they have an amazing selection of things that I can get in the UK. And they actually did have some yarns by a company that I will talk about that's separate that I got too. So it was cool to see that like they had an amazing selection, kind of a very global selection of yarns. So I like super recommend that store. It was like really, really beautiful, and like a store I would love to spend time in when we get to a time when we can all spend time knitting in a yarn store. And it would be amazing for knit night. Oh my god, it was like perfectly set up for a knit night. So yeah, I did enjoy the visit, but I didn't pick up anything. But then a few days later, I went to the other kind of biggest recommendation that I got from people online, which was All You Knit Is Love. Fantastic name. What is with knitters and puns? We're just like the best at puns. So I went to All You Knit Is Love, which is in a fantastic area of Barcelona. So, you know, if you're going, like, you're going to one of the best places in Barcelona, so you might as well go to the yarn shop as well. And one thing to remember with Barcelona is that they like have weird opening times, so do make sure you check out your opening times. They take super long siesta lunches that are like 2 hours and then reopen again in the evening. So yeah, when you're visiting, just be aware, like keep an eye on opening times and kind of get comfortable with that, because they're kind of all over the place. But I did pick up some bits in All You Knit and Love, which is more of like what I was talking about, that like Aladdin's Cave yarn shop. Super, super nice and cozy place. They even had like a nice cozy chair where I parked my boyfriend while I wandered around and had a look. And the owner was super, super nice and spoke English. So we got, I think she's American. So we got to chat a bit, and I picked up some yarn. So the first yarn I picked up was one that I had read about online, which is called K2 Tog. Again, talking about the puns. Knit two together. And so these are the two skeins I picked up. And this is, okay, this is 70%, so this is special yarn. This is 70% wool and 30% milk. And they even say, how we get them together is our secret. You just knit and enjoy. And it's so cool. Like the label has a, let me put my face behind. It has a milk bottle with yarn inside it, which I thought was super clever. And you can see the little All You Knit Is Love logo up there. And this is 70% wool, 30% milk. It is 100 grams, which is 105 meters, and it's 6 to 8 millimeter needles. So I believe this is a worsted weight. So I picked up two. This is the color 72. So I picked up two skeins. Let me see if I can get a really good color. Yeah, there you go. It does say machine washable, but then in the store she said it wasn't machine washable, so I don't know if it's superwash or not. To me, it does have that little sheen of a superwash, but I don't mind too much. It's like a really funky, cool, special yarn. And so I've already got a plan for, as soon as I saw this, I was like, I've got a plan for this. I think this would make a really funky, chunky, cabled hat with a pom-pom. I want to get a pom-pom maker. I want to get a big, chunky pattern with worsted weight that has like a folded brim, you know, and a big pom-pom on top. And that's what I want to make this, because this is like blue, like really like a deep, sumptuous blue. Like I love the color. And so that is what I want to make with this when I saw this. And I'm really excited. It's really cool that it's wool and milk. And then all I can think of is like, if you were lactose intolerant, would this irritate your skin? You know, I don't know. Would it? Who knows? I mean, if you ate it, if anyone ate it, it would irritate you. But if you were lactose intolerant, I wonder. Who knows? It's a mystery. So that was the first yarn I picked up, which is K2 Tog, Knit Two Together yarn from All You Knit Is Love. Let me put this somewhere else. And then the other one I got is this skein, and this is from All You Knit Is Love, so it's their it's like their brand yarn, and this one's called Murmur, which I only realized when I was pulling this out for this episode. It's Murmur, and then the tagline is the sound of softness like a murmur, which like in the shop didn't click with me. And this is 75% merino and 25% cashmere, and it's hand dyed in Barcelona. It is 400 meters, 100 grams, 3 to 4 millimeter needles, and it's hand washed. So this would be a fingering weight. And do we have a color name? That is a great question. I don't think there is a color name. Yeah, so this one is hand dyed in Barcelona. I know the K2 Tog, I think, is some of it's made in Portugal, or there's something in Portugal with this. Well, it says made in EU, so I'm pretty sure she said this was Portugal, but this is all Spanish. So it doesn't have a color name. Sorry, you guys, unless it was hanging off this thing. Yeah, it doesn't have a color name. This was the second last skein, so if you really like this color, I'm afraid you're going to have to either go to the website or go to Barcelona and pick up the other skein that I left behind. Because I said to my boyfriend that I was only allowed one skein from each shop. And since I didn't get any from the other shop, I ended up getting more from All You Need Is Love. And one skein of the blue wouldn't have been enough for a hat. Right? So it's technically two colors, not two skeins. Anyway, whatever. So yeah, I don't know what color this is, but I absolutely loved it. It was like it's hand dyed, so it's got like, I'm gonna get my face out of the shot so you can see it. It's like this, like, I don't know, it's green, but it's like murky, kind of swampy, light tone greens. I just really loved it. I really loved it and fell in love with it. So it's kind of, it's something that I would really love to put in a shawl of some kind. Like maybe like a masculine lacy shawl, like a Locatelli shawl pattern. What do you think? I don't know. I just really liked it. I really liked it. I really fell in love with it, and it's so soft. You can feel that 25% cashmere. It sounds soft too. So yeah, so this was the other skein I picked up from All You Need Is Love in Barcelona, and this is Murmur. And yeah, I had a great time in Barcelona, you guys. I knit the Opus Shawl in the hotel room when we were back at the hotel, and then I knit the sock on the airplane and on the trains when we were going trains to places. And yeah, so that's kind of how and then we went to the iron shop. So that's how my knitting life kind of has adjusted to Barcelona. But I will say that like it was hot in Barcelona, so bringing knitting at all was a bit of a kind of a gamble. And if I was to go again in the summer, I probably would just bring the sock and maybe a smaller main project like the market bag or something like that. I don't know if I'd bring a shawl or a sweater again, unless it was like something lacy or something simple. So yeah, it was a good experiment to see how I would feel about that. Then next, once we came back from Barcelona, we had one day in London, which is where I started the market bag and then restarted it. And then we went off, and I don't know if I mentioned that we went to Bath here in the UK. So it is about for us it was like an hour train that we took to Bath from London, and we had an absolutely fantastic time in Bath, and I couldn't recommend it more for if you live in the UK or if you're visiting the UK, even just for a day. It's super nice, it's super small, and like has loads of history and like small tiny shops and yarn shops, which I'll dive into now. I'll dive into the Bath. So yeah, I can't recommend Bath enough. I absolutely loved it, and I had a great time there. I did the same thing. I brought my Opus Shawl and I brought a sock. I didn't end up knitting on the Opus Shawl, but I did bring the Opus Shawl for a very good reason, which I'll get into. So it was a lot of just sock knitting there, and I picked up a lot more yarn there because it was on a train. I didn't have to like worry about weight, and I ended up with a tote bag of things. And so I went to the two yarn stores that I know of that are in Bath. The first is just called Wool, or Wool Bath. And they're I'm going to have to look up her name. Bear with. Laura. It was Laura. So the lovely Laura was there when I arrived, and you are going to open up your phone right now and look them up on Instagram. which is run by Laura, because Laura does the funniest like reels, like TikTok kind of reels on they're just called they're at Woolbath on Instagram, and she does the funniest reels and like Instagram stories that like crack me up. So if you like a good laugh and a good kind of like knitting meme moment, follow Woolbath, because Laura's hilarious. So as soon as I walked in, I was wearing the Beauceron, and like as soon as I walked in, she was like, "Tell me you knit that." And it was the nicest thing ever. It was so like, you know, your partner compliments your knitting, blah, blah, blah. But like when another knitter is like, "Oh my God, did you make that?" Like it feels so great. So I went in and I chatted and hung out for a little while. And yeah, it was just absolutely fantastic. Super beautiful store. Huge selection. You could like anything you need for any project. Like Laura's got you covered. She's all like the magazines and stuff like that. Like, you know, if you're in Bath, you got it. If you go to Wool, and I did the same thing. I want something that only you guys have. And so Laura dyes her own yarn. So this is what I picked up. This is dyebath. See what she did there? Lovely hand dyed in beautiful bath. This is Eco Merino DK, 100% organic merino. And these are both 350 meters, 100 grams, 3.5 to 4 millimeters, so it would be fingering. And these two colors really spoke to me. I was in a super kind of like yellow, turquoise, blue, beige kind of moment that day, and these colors just, I kind of love them together. I don't know why. They just really popped to me together. And so this color is honeycomb, and this one is nice. So yeah, I'll hold it up here so you can get a good look at it. Yeah, just fantastic, absolutely fantastic colors. And yeah, so I picked these up, and I have no idea what I want to make with these, but I do really like them together. So I don't know, maybe brioche. These would be cool with brioche together, right? So yeah, so this is dyebath yarns from Wool in Bath. And yeah, and like all these places I've mentioned, all you need is love. I'm sure they all have online stores, so if you want it, like go find them online. Tell them Jonathan sent you. And the other thing is that in Wool in Bath, they have that really good issue of Pom Pom magazine. If you're looking for it, they have that there as well. So that's dyebath that I picked up in Wool in Bath. That was the first thing I picked up in Bath. Let me put these back here, and then I went to a yarn shop that I've been ordering online from since the beginning of the pandemic, since the beginning of my return to knitting properly, which is it's a yarn story. So I've already mentioned a yarn story because I've mentioned Carmen, who is the proprietor of a yarn story and also the creator of Walcot yarns. And so of course I had to visit, and the store is like beautiful and amazing, and I spent probably a good hour there talking to Kaylee, who I think they've just announced, she told me in person, but they've just announced that she's the new store manager. I think from the next few months she's officially the new store manager of Yarn Story. And even though she was feeling a little bit poorly today, she hung out with me and let me waffle, and we both waffled at each other about yarn and chose colors and picked out things and talked, which was, you know, everything I wanted and more from the store. And so yeah, I order online for them all the time, so you probably should. I don't know if you're making the Opus Shawl, maybe you've ordered Walcot yarns yourself. It's, you know, all super well thought out. Everything they've kind of curated as their selection there is like fantastic. There was like a wall of spin cycle, and oh my god, you guys, I had to resist. And kind of when I finished that day, I was like, I need to have a ban on buying yarn, because, you know, we're almost an hour into this episode and I still have a lot more yarn to show you. So I'm probably on a yarn buying ban now, but I will show you what I picked up. I went in very specifically for more Opus, because if you are going to go to a yarn store, you've got to get some Walcot yarn because it's where it comes from. So on that live Instagram that Max and Carmen did, they were speaking about the Opus Shawl, and they were speaking about the Opus yarn itself. And Max was mentioning that he has a pattern called the Hide and Peak sweater, which would be knit in sport weight. So even though his design doesn't use Opus, he said it would be perfect to make the Hide and Peak sweater. So it was already in my queue, so I now have the yarn I need for it. So I went there, and it uses 4 colors similar to the Opus. It uses a main color and 3 contrast colors. And so myself and Kaylee chatted for ages, like pulling out colors, and it was cool because they had most, if not all, of the colors in stock, since most of them, not all of them, are being sold out because of the Opus Shawl. So it was cool to be able to go there and get some infamous colors that are no longer available or like hard to find online. So the 2 colors I picked out are these 2. So this is Goldenrod, which is these are both sport weight. So this is Goldenrod, which is used in the example of the Opus Shawl. So this is I think it's quite popular color. And this is Cove. So it's quite a turquoisey color, deep blue green. So the plan is, and we spent a lot of time talking about it, is that this will be my main color. Goldenrod will be a contrast. And even though I had other colors pulled out, so let me reach down here. What do we think about this? Yeah, I know, because I have this for my Opus, and you don't need a huge amount, so I figure I might have enough of this left for my Opus. And then, reaching in, see if I can do this. Whoa. What about this, you guys? For the Hide and Peak, so main color is the Cove on the top, and then the I think the pink will be my first contrast, which uses the least amount, then the white, which uses the next most, and then the Goldenrod is the one you need the most of the 3 contrasts. But what do you think, huh? For the Hide and Peak, I'm just like super excited about it. So I told you I had plans for jumpers, and I have not only plans, but I have yarns as well. So there might be a swatch coming up for that. I might do a colorwork swatch, actually, which I will try to see what the colors look like, because I'm already super excited about how these colors look together. So yeah, it was a fantastic time visiting Yarn Story to get some of the wonderful Opus yarn that I can't get enough of, and I want to make the Hide and Peak by Max the Knitter in the future with these colors. So that was a Yarn Story. Okay, we're nearly there. We're getting there, guys. We're getting there. So I have 3 more places that I got yarn from to show you, and then I want to speak briefly about some publications I've gotten recently, and then we will wrap up. So if you're still with me, hold on, there's just a little bit more to come. So if you haven't noticed, I bang on about Max and Vincent an awful lot, and I'm going to keep banging on about them for the next few minutes, because Vincent has a new base, which they announced in one of their recent episodes of their podcast. And as you know me, I'm like a non-superwash kind of guy, rustic kind of guy. And when he said, hey, I've got a British floor ply base coming out, I was like, hell yeah, man. So I paused whatever episode I was watching and I placed an order for a bunch of it. So here's my first ever Dye by Delz order. So the first one I got is Meredith's Grey, which of course, this is it. This is British 4-ply. It is 75 BFL wool, 25% Masham, non-superwash fingering, 100 gram skeins. So this is Meredith's Grey, which I absolutely love. It's so beautiful. Then is, of course, Cardi's Ochre. The ochre color, beautiful. Then I got Max's Khaki, of course. I love Vincent's like color sensibility. It's fantastic. And then finally I got Chris's Pine. There you go, pretty good. Which is not a million miles actually from, it's a little bit more green from my jumper, the holly color. So it's like one of those deep, deep greens. It's like a forest green. And like, together, they're pretty good, right? Like, they could be something together, but really, like, it's one of those ones where, this is why I'm saying I love his sensibilities. So, you know, you could close your eyes and be like, bam, amazing. You know what I mean? Like, you can just, they all go together fantastically. You know, are there any dyer, like, can you mention dyers that you can just pull two colors and they just look fantastic together? It's insane. It's insane. It's beautiful. Have no idea what I'm going to make with it, but I am super excited to have it. And yeah, I'm just super inspired by these colors. And I think once it gets like cold and dark and gray and depressing, like these are going to be like something that really inspire me, and that, yeah, I can't wait. I don't know what it's going to be. I really don't even want to say a category because I just want it to be like a pattern that comes to me and I'm like, oh my God, I want to do something really special with these. So that was those. And of course, you can't like order from Le Garçon without picking up some trinkets along the way. So I picked up, hold on, let me get them together. 3 of the little enamel pins, and now that I'm filming this episode, I can finally put them on my Carhartt knitting bag. So this is Max with his drop spindle. This is Vincent with his dye pot. And then this is their special Pride one, which is a jackalope, which is a mystical animal. And you know, mystical animals are very interesting, aren't they? That's a hint for you guys. Ooh, mystical animal, Le Garçon. What could I be pointing to that you can look forward to in the future from them? But here are the 3 little pins I picked out. And I think they've gone walking. They have gone walking. But did get sent little stitch markers. So thank you so much, guys, for adding these little guys on. So cute. So I got those as well. But let me jump back to a yarn story, because when in a yarn story, of course, I had to pick up the little pin with Peaches the dog, who's Carmen's dog. So this is Le Garçon and a yarn story. So they made, Max would have designed this pin for them. And so it's Peaches, Carmen's dog, with a yarn story. So of course, I had to pick up one of those, and then I obviously picked up one of the little stitch. I'm not a real, like, I don't use these an awful lot because maybe I will start using them now that I have them. I don't use them a lot, but I do think they're very, very cute to have. And while I was in a yarn story, because online on Le Garçon they were out of stock, but I picked up this one, which is a Highland Coup, and look what he's wearing. What is he wearing, you guys? He's wearing a Beauceron, just like me. So yeah, so that was really, really cute and exciting. I love enamel pins. I don't know about you guys, but I'm really excited to have these. And I know that they've made like different pins for different yarn stores around the world, which is a problem for me because I'll kind of like fly there just to go and get the pin because I want the set. So it's dangerous for me, you guys. But yeah, super, super love them. Super cute. They will be on my bag soon, so you'll see them. And jumping back, because I just found this, All You Knit Is Love, they gave me their business card. Look at this. So clever. It's their business card, and it's got a needle gauge on it. It's genius. Absolutely genius. allyouneedislove.com with needle gauge. So I had to mention that before I went. So if you do go, say, please, can I have a business card? And then I'm going to talk about 2 more yarns and then we're done. This next one I only discovered because of Max and Vincent, this next brand, and I'm absolutely disgusted with myself because it is a wonderful Irish brand of yarns called Olann, which is, it means wool, in Irish, and they had their yarn dyers, but they recently got their own mill, and so they brought out their first milled yarn that they made themselves. And so I jumped online when it was being released, and like the website was crashing and everyone was trying to get it, and I eventually got some. And once you're finished this episode, because I've talked about Max and Vincent so much, you should probably go watch the most recent episode of their podcast called Happy Hour, which is a wonderful podcast. Because I was screaming at the screen because they show what they've gotten from Olann yarns as well. And Max got my freaking color that I wanted, which is Priestess, which is beautiful. And, you know, they were talking about what they were getting, and Max said, ooh, I also got some yarn, and it's this color, Priestess, which is the one I wanted. So I was screaming, and I DM'd him, and I was like, how dare you take my yarn, that's my color. Anyway, I still got some beautiful yarn from Olann. These are the 2 colors I got, which I'm still happy about. Priestess will come. I'll get some Priestess too, eventually. But so these are the 2 I got. The yarn is called Meara, Meara, and it is 100% fine merino, created using wash fast and light fast dyes, may bleed on first wash. So this color is Eden, and it is a like turquoise teal, and it's got like, let's see, I wouldn't say, it's got like depth and definition that I can like hardly describe. It's absolutely beautiful. And then this other color I got was Mist, and again, absolutely beautiful. This is, I believe it is fingering. It is pretty thin. I have no plans. I just thought it was absolutely beautiful. I think they actually do look good together because there is definitely some of that turquoise color in the Mist color. But I have no plans for this. I do have plans for this that I will not be sharing with you until it is finished. But I might record little snippets of what I'm planning on doing with it and then make a finished object special episode. Who knows? But I do have a plan for this. And it is a once gain wonder, and for most people, if I say once gain wonder, they think of only one very popular pattern. So if you get that clue, feel free to guess in the comments. But that's what I'm going to make with this, because it is generous. It's 420 meters yardage, so it's even more than that famous once gain wonder pattern is. So I figure I could do that with this for someone in my life. So that's the plan I have for the Eden color. Mist color is freaking gorgeous. How would that look with this, maybe? Ooh, maybe. Who knows? Beautiful. Love it. Can't wait to use it. Also can't wait to get my hands on Priestess. Somehow, I am going home to Ireland in 2 weeks' time. And I live in Cork. Well, my family lives in Cork, down south, where Hedgehog Fibres and Life on the Long Grass is. So maybe I'll pop into Hedgehog Fibres. I don't know if they really like people popping in, but you know, I could go up and be like, hello! And then Olann is based in Cavan, which is the county that looks like a chicken drumstick. That's how I used to remember when I was growing up. But I don't think I'll be visiting them as much as I would love to. Be like, please give me the Priestess color, it's so beautiful. I want to make a jumper. But yeah, Olann Yarns, they have a new club coming up, or a new kind of collection coming up it's called Soft Days, and it's not, I don't think it's a mill yarn, it's one of the, just their because they're dyers as well. The mill is the new product. Before that they were just dyers, and there's some colors in there that are freaking fantastic, and I'm very tempted by them, even though I'm not finished telling you about which other yarn I've gotten, so I don't need more yarn. But this is the last one, I promise you, and there's a reason why, and I have a good reason for this yarn. So, all my plans currently for the next 6 months are all focused on one event in my life, which is going skiing in March. We, obviously, the last 2 years, this trip, we used to go skiing in March, but the trip the last 2 years has been cancelled, obviously. So I'm really hopeful that next year it will happen. And when it goes, goddamn, I will have all the knitwear. So much knitwear to wear. Like, it's the best time to wear hand-knitted garments. I want to wear my basic sweater, I want to wear my Beauceron, I want to wear my Anker, I want to wear my hide and peak on a peak in the snow. Are you kidding? Oh, so as well as that, so sweaters majorly, my like amazing hat with the pom-pom cabled up in the Alps. Just look how cute I'll be. Oh my God, can you imagine? But the other thing I want is my boots to be toasty warm, which is why I'm trying to figure out exactly what my like vanilla sock pattern distance is to use up all the yarn, because I bought a bunch of yarn specifically to make socks. Not for inside my ski boots, but inside the boots I'll be wearing walking around. Because I have 2 pairs of boots that I would wear walking around. Like I've got real kind of like duck boots ones, and then I've got like regular ones, and then so those are the 2 sets of boots that I'll be bringing, and I want to have like amazing socks inside those boots. So of course we're back to Garthenor, and it's the Pentland. It's not the Preselli base, it's Pentland, which I believe I keep. It's not sport. I think it's sport. Who knows? Either way, I know it's I've got 2 pairs of socks already made. I might have, yeah, the red ones I showed on previous episodes. They were made in Pentland, and they're wonderful. They're my ribbed socks. So I picked up another skein of this, which is the Mediterranean color. I've already made a pair of socks in this color, but I've only got like a small bit left. So I needed to add this skein so I could get a full pair of socks. The other color I've gotten for another pair is this color, which is called Willow. A lot of green. You can tell I like green and blue, guys. Come on. This is Willow. This is super rustic. Like she's not soft, you guys. But on your feet, perfect. For someone like me, perfect. Like you want to go hard, you're going to sweat in your socks. Like this is going to be good to you. So I got this color, and then I got their undyed, which is Salt, to go with for heels and toes. So it's going to be this, heels and toes this, and then probably this with heels and toes on that. And then I got this color as well, which is called Atlantic, which is for my partner to make him a pair. So that is, and I've got another 2 skeins. I can literally see them here in their Snowdonia sock, which I think I spoke about in previous episodes. So that means I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pairs of ribbed socks to make in preparation for skiing in March, which is 6 months away. So that's plenty of time. I can bang out a pair of ribbed socks like in less than a month with my lunchtime knitting. So that is the plan. So I've got all that Pentland ready to go. So you'll see more and more why I'm like focusing on like having amazing knitwear for when I'm skiing. And yeah, so I want to like be decked out in knits. So many knits. And we did it, guys. That is all the yarn. I want to speak about one more thing, which is publications, because there's been lots of beautiful publications coming out. And I'm going to spend one minute of your time. I'm just going to tell you which one it is, and I'm going to tell you my favorite pattern from that issue, okay? First up, bam, pom-pom. This is the autumn 2021 issue, and the theme was roots and branches. Beautiful issue. Beautiful issue. The models, oh my god. Oh my god. I love the models in this episode. They're gorgeous. Gorgeous, handsome, beautiful, amazing. If I crocheted, it would be this. But I don't. This is the Elise Alcia. But I don't crochet. I knit. And as soon as I saw the preview, where are you? This is my favorite pattern from this issue. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And this is the Skyward. Beautiful. Cabled yoke. I think it looks like, to me, like reverse stockinette. But it's beautiful. Actually might go on my cube. The only reason it wouldn't is because the Ankers Sweater would have a similar kind of look in the yoke. But amazing issue of pom-pom. Absolutely amazing. Highly recommend. Next up, Lina. This is issue 12, and I can't remember what the theme is. I think it might be beauty is the theme. And favorite pattern from this issue had to be Skylight. This is by Olga Jazzy on Instagram. She designed with Stephen West, the Kinship Shawl that I would have shown maybe my first or second episode. She does amazing like sculptural, architectural like 3D knits, and this has like drop stitch patterning and it's beautiful. It's so cool. Yeah, I don't know if I'd make it for myself. Maybe I would. It's not super feminine, but it's cool. I really like it. And this whole issue was great. This is every issue of everything I'm talking about. Amazing. And finally, Making Stories, which I absolutely love. I love this magazine. And the theme for them was Skyward. Last time I spoke about Making Stories, I mentioned that I probably wouldn't make any of the patterns in that previous issue for myself. This time, there's a ton that I would make for myself, for sure. Great theme. Let me find my favorite pattern, which is a pair of socks. Photography is fantastic. The model was great. Where are you? Sorry, guys. I know you're busy. You've got somewhere to go. You've got somewhere to be. You can't be just watching me flicking through a magazine. Here they are. Amazing. What are they called? They are called the Orage, O-R-A-G-E socks. And they're meant to be like a thunderstorm. Here we go. They've got they're super simple, but just with a little cable detail at the top. Really nice. Really nice. I really like them. So, and I probably will make these because they're like basically a vanilla sock just with a really nice cable detail at the top. So I like it a lot. So that's Making Stories issue 6, and their theme was Skyward. Yeah, Skyward. Making Stories. Amazing. And that's it. Thank you so much, guys. This has been the longest episode ever. It will not be as long. It will be back to my 3-week schedule again, and I'll have a trip home to Ireland in between that, so I'll have like more little travel knitting to talk about, and hopefully get some photos at home in Ireland of my time there. I'm only going for a short while, and then I'll be back again at Christmas, but that's what's happening for me. So I'll get lots of knitting time and lots of things done. Thank you so much to everyone who has commented and subscribed and liked, and people who've recommended me on their other episodes, people who've reposted me on Instagram. Thank you, Inga, for reposting me on Instagram. I got this like burst of followers and I didn't know where it came from, and then I was like, oh, it's this wonderful woman sharing me, which was great. If you have any questions, put them down below. It's been so long. Tell me what you're working on. Did you finish the thing that you told me you were working on the last time? Are you still working on it? I try to reply to every single comment that I can, and if I don't, I at least will like hit the like button to like try and let you know that I have read it. Thank you to those who like pinged over to my website. I should have about 3 posts up on the blog at the moment, and I want to have more content coming to the website soon. I'm going to be setting myself up with an email soon, so you guys will be able to contact me directly if you have any questions, or if you want any recommendations, or if you're stuck on a pattern that I've been working on. I'm happy to like help as best I can. And yeah, I hope everyone's been really well. I have missed making this podcast and chatting to you guys and keeping you updated, and there will be lots more to come. It's been wonderful doing this throughout the summer, but like our time is coming, you guys. It's coming. It's getting cold. It's getting dark. I'm so excited to just hide in a corner with a candle and a hot drink and just knit. It's going to be great, and I'm hopeful that you are all healthy and safe where you are. I'm sending you so much love. Thank you for sticking by for this long. Let me know how you're doing down below. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see you in 3 weeks. Much love. Bye.